Hey guys, it's Amber. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm giving you my April and May favorites. Sorry, I just could not get my life together and get a favorites video up for April, but I wanted to get one up for April and May before we were too far into June. I didn't want to do too many months compiled into one video. But today I have some great things to talk to you about. I have some books, some skincare products, some podcasts, a little bit of everything. So let's just jump into it. Two quick things before we get started. I am getting over this crazy combination of cold and an allergy, so sorry if I sound a little stuffy or if I have to pause 18 times to sneeze, and sorry if you can hear a bunch of rain and weird noise in the background. It's Storm City up in Philly this last couple of days, but I wanted to get this video up for you guys. So my first favorite, just like last month, is a new brand of face mask that I'm currently obsessed with. I love a lot of this brand's products. I recently gave their paper mask a try and I'm so glad I did. I think they're fantastic. I think there are a few masks that are they're cheap, they're easy to come across, and they're gonna be a nice little pamper session, but there are certain ones that are really good for your skin and you can feel and see the benefits as soon as you peel the mask off, and I think that these are definitely in that camp, and they are the face mask by Pacifica. Pacifica as a brand is great. They usually rank really well as far as the ingredients they use in their skincare products. They tend to be on the more natural and less toxic side, which is always a plus, I think. The one that I've tried that I'm really loving is this one, the Super Green Detox. It leaves your skin feeling so bright and so firmed and refreshed. I really loved using it. It has kale and charcoal in it, cilantro and green tea, so you get that really nice tingle while it's on, and then you get that nice long-lasting refreshed feeling after, which is a huge benefit. I love using this after I've had a super long day, or I know I've had a ton of makeup on this week and I know I just want to give my skin a little refresh. I think this is a great product to turn to. The second one by Pacifica is called Pollution Fight with blue algae. It has kelp and banana, and it's supposed to help all skin types who have been in those high pollution situations, aka anyone else who also lives in a major city. Definitely give this brand a try if you're looking for a new mask to kind of treat yourself. They're still super affordable. I think they're each under $4. I found these at Ulta. I've seen them in Target as well, so you can also probably order them online, and as always, everything I mentioned will be linked in the description box. Heading into more of the bookish side of my favorites, this is a product that was recommended to me by a fellow blogger, Jessica, over at No Real Jewelry. I will link her blog and Instagram down below. Highly recommend following her. Jess is great. Thanks for recommending this devotional to me, girl. This devotional is called Jesus Calling, and I think it's one of the best devotionals I've ever had. It's really short daily entries, and it really helps me start my day just really spiritually connected. Devotional has been a great addition to my morning routine. I just start off before I journal or do morning pages, I will read the day's entry in this, and then I'll go through all of the scriptures underneath each devotional and just really kind of pray over my day and set my intention for the day, and it just gets me in that good mindset before jumping into work or heading online. And I think it's so important to have a tool that you can use to kind of meet yourself at the level that you're at, to really help guide yourself spiritually throughout the day. So if you're looking to really amp up your prayer life, or just connect more, or even just learn more about who God is and what he says that he does, I highly recommend checking out this devotional. I found it on Amazon, and it will of course be linked down below. Speaking of books, I mentioned in my last favorites video how much I was obsessed with and loving my bullet journal. I'm still going strong with my bullet journaling. It's one of the best things I ever started to do for myself, and I've been so obsessed with it. I've been looking for tons of resources. I picked this book up a while ago after a few people recommended it to me, just to get ideas about spreads and other ways to use my bullet journal that I wasn't even thinking of, and it's called Dot Journaling, A Practical Guide by Rachel Wilkerson Miller, and this is a fantastic resource for anyone who's new to bullet journaling or dot journaling or whatever you want to call it. If you're someone like me who can kind of get overwhelmed with the options or limitless kind of situation, definitely check this out. I mean, there are things that I never even thought to put in my bullet journal, and new ways to lay things out so that they take up less space and you can use a page to its full advantage. Just really good stuff in here, and it's not about how to make your bullet journal super pretty or overly artistic. So if that's something that has kind of put you off from bullet journaling, I think this does a good job of breaking down the actual practical uses for one, and not just the creative side of it. The last book I want to talk about is one of my favorite books that I read last month. I'm so obsessed with this author. I'm obsessed with this world. I'm so glad that it's going to be made into a movie, and I can't wait to read the second book in the series. Everyone is talking about this book, so I know I'm not the only one who's absolutely in love with it, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I I was so excited when this book came out because there are so few books that are set in fantasy worlds that are influenced and inspired by African culture and that feature strong African American or African main characters. And this book has African main characters and side characters, and they're super different, and they have these complex personalities, and it's great. The magic system in here is super interesting. And I will say, when I was reading it, the first 150 pages or so, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna love it as much as I thought I was gonna love it, just because I had such high expectations for this book. But it truly did not disappoint. I am so glad that I read it. I honestly am like ready to reread it already. It's just that good. I'm recommending it to everyone. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm just so excited for the second book. I need to know what's gonna happen next, because the ending honestly like destroyed me. Like I reread the ending I think 6 times, like the last 30 or 40 pages 6 times, because I was like, did that just happen? Like, is that what actually happens? Can't recommend her or her books more, so definitely give those things a click in the description. The last beauty product I want to talk about is this little thing that I have been avoiding buying forever. I don't know why I've been so skeptical of it, but it went on sale at Ulta, and I was like, why not? It's allergy season. I need things to add extra moisture to my face anyway. Mario Batiso, I cannot pronounce that, so correct me in the comments. Facial spray with aloe, cucumber, and green tea. I love this stuff. And I've had it for a while, and I've barely even like made a dent in it, so it looks like I just started it, and I've used this maybe for about a month and a half. I use it after I apply my toner, before I apply my moisturizer, or sometimes even after I apply my moisturizer. And I use it during the day too. Like if I have been rubbing my face because like my allergies are bothering me or something like that, I'll just mist my face with this, and it kind of tones your skin down a little bit, moisturizes it, refreshes it, makes it less dry. This has been a lifesaver during allergy season when it was super hot and super like polleny outside, just to kind of be able to like rinse your face essentially without having to like find a bathroom and go to the sink. I love having something like this in my bathroom cabinet. I want to get a smaller one so I can keep one in my bag with me at all times. Like, it's that good. The last 2 things I want to mention as my favorites are 2 podcasts that I have recently been obsessed and introduced to. So the first podcast I'm going to mention is called Second Life. It's brought to us by My Domain. If you don't read My Domain, it's a great website, really focused towards women who are trying to like build businesses and become entrepreneurs and live great lifestyles at the same time. Sound familiar to someone else's mission? I love My Domain. I've read them I think since I was in college, and I didn't even know that they had a podcast series going. So Second Life interviews different women who have started their own businesses or blazed new trails, and talks about all the other things they did before they got to where you see them today, which I think is such an important story to tell. I love hearing stories like that. It's super inspiring, super encouraging, and the episodes are all great. Even people who I'd never heard of, who I didn't realize I'd known their work, like producers and things like that. I love this podcast. I definitely recommend it if you're into podcasts or if you're looking to get into podcasts. It's not like super heavy. It's not hard to digest or keep attention to, so definitely check out Second Life. And the last podcast I want to mention, I'm loving. It's called the Young Adulting Podcast. Actually, hold that thought. Second podcast I want to mention is called the Bad on Paper Podcast, formerly known as the Young Adulting Podcast, hosted by Becca Freeman and Grace Atwood. They are hilarious. I love just hearing their banter back and forth. They talk about bad books, mostly young adult books. They will 1 week do an episode where they take like a young adult book that they give you time to read if you want to read along with them, and then they just discuss it and talk about the book, basically like a little book club via podcast. And then the next week's episode is usually an advice episode where they take listener questions or just give like random advice on things that they've learned throughout their lives and careers and time in New York. So it is so authentic and so good. I love that they are just 2 friends who came together over like a common love of books, and we're like, why not do a podcast? So definitely check them out if you are a book lover, or if you just like witty, smart, charming, funny women. I think it is definitely worth your time. Subscribe, leave them a good rating on iTunes, tell them that I sent you. I mean, I am obsessed. Alright guys, that's my favorites for April and May. Fingers crossed that June will go up on time. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I release new videos every single week, and I have a new video series that's going to be starting next Sunday that you're not going to want to miss. Thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. All of my social media are linked down below, as well as anything mentioned in this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!